Hey Gemini, Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and I thought I would do a tarot reading to see about the energy that's happening coming up and leading up to Valentine's Day. This is going to be for those of you who are in and out of a relationship, even describing some of the information for those of you who are in a friendship zone or a situationship. We're going to kind of cut apart this reading into a couple different areas so that we can cover all of our tracks here. And you guys have a really unique vibe. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what. First off, it looks like somebody has had a silent moment. This talks a lot about somebody who's controlling energies. Doesn't have to be the worst controlling energies. We all have control dynamics here or there, right? Sometimes people control a lot and they overdo it and their fears get the best of them. So they wall themselves up. But other times we just control little things like when we send a text message or what we want to eat for the day. There are different avenues of controlling this, but I'm bringing it up because the Emperor card is here in the reversal. And the Emperor holds the energy of the potential to have such a great empire, especially in love. His consort is the Empress after all. But in the reversal position, he has to recognize that some of the things that he is building, he's building based on fears of failure, over controlling, and doing a lot of the work on his own. Those dynamics of a fear of failure could be a reason why a particular person with the 8 of Wands card has this dynamic of what could be called the failed archer. That's not to say failure always, but in this energy here, when this is connected to archery, the 8 of Wands is typically a depiction of 8 archer arrows flying to a target. In the reversal, it's like trying to hit a bullseye swiftly and quickly, but the bullseye doesn't get hit. And it's also like trying over and over again. There's a lot of arrows here, right? It's like trying to get to a situation and have it rectified. And for some reason, no matter how many arrows you shoot at your goal, there's something missing, something's not hitting. Now, because the archer arrows are connected to swift movement, they're often tied to communication. Quick things that fly in the air, like words that fly in the air very quickly. So it could be that there is a problem with communication that has been reoccurring over and over again, but it's going this way because of this problem with over controlling some kind of an aspect or fears that are getting in the way. The 5 of Swords is also here in the reversal position, which does insinuate, yes, difficulties. It is a card of a battle. It can be a battle like arguments that have happened between people, but it can be the kind of battle where it feels like climbing a mountain while pushing a boulder uphill. It's not about another person, but it's like challenges and battles that happen within a person themselves. But I will say, when it's in the reversal position, it's connected to burials. I know that's an odd thing to say. In a physical way, it could be that somebody has had actual losses of a really deep nature connected to burials and losses, the kind that could be through deaths and things like that have led them to have a very walled up energy or poor communication or an over controlling dynamic. This could be hardships in family. It could be hardships, whatever, within their life circumstances in a past, in relationships, right? But when it's not talking about a physical burial, it can be talking about having to bury something, like something was buried in the past. There's 2 ways to look at that. One, a relationship could have ended. The relationship itself could have been buried. But another avenue of it is that there's something like information or something of a past situation that got buried and needs to be redug up again, which is why the 8 of Wands talks about arrows having to do things over and over again. What's really neat though, these energies are talking, these ones right here, they are talking about the problem, but the cards at the end are talking about the path and the solution forward, which insinuates there is a path forward. And that's what you're going to be dealing with from now until Valentine's Day. The Sun card is the best omen that you can get. It is the path being revealed. It is finally coming to that moment where you can see exactly where the arrows need to go, exactly what things need to be dug up, and exactly how to let go of the fear. Because the Sun is all about revelation and receiving information. If you think about how the Sun operates from a functional symbolism kind of level, outside when the sun is out, we can see everything that's in front of us. You know, we can see the trees. We can see how far the road goes up ahead. We can see if there's a stone or a pit in our way. That's why the sun is connected to great information that's coming into you that reveals exactly what path and steps you need to take. So if this is you, you're going to see the paths that you need to take to get out of any fears and any communication stalling. And if this is your person, then the person that you're dealing with is about to get a huge revelation of information on how to resolve the situations that they're dealing with so that you guys can push this into a forward dynamic. The sun card is also, because it's a celestial object, it's connected to cycles that happen not just with you, but through multiple people or through each other. The sun doesn't just affect its own self, right? The sun affects the earth. The sun affects the plants. The sun affects the people growing around it. So this isn't just growth in one sense. This is probably the kind of growth that you're going to experience leading up to Valentine's Day that includes both of you. Your cycles end up wrapping in together. What's really neat also is the Queen of Wands is a card of intimacy. I know it's a queen energy, but it could be for both of you since we've already seen some energy that can involve both of you. But historically speaking, she's the kind of person, this Queen of Wands here, is the kind of person who really likes to feel comfortable in their home. Like this could be you or this could be your person. But imagine that feeling when you know your money's running good and you know your household is good. You kind of sit back, or even when you've just like painted the walls and decorated. Have you ever just sat down in your home and you take a sigh of relief and you're like, oh my God, I finally did it. You know, these walls look good. I feel comfortable here. Or you got that job and finally the job just clicks. Or you deal with that course and finally you're like, okay, I've passed that part of the course where I'm stressed. And then you sit back and you look around, and you kind of say to yourself, I feel good with where I'm at right now. That's what the Queen of Wands is. The Queen of Wands loves to feel a sense of intimacy with her surrounding world. And what I mean by intimacy with the surrounding world is she feels safe, she feels comfortable, she feels at ease, not just in the arms of somebody intimately, which she absolutely does with the Queen of Wands dynamic. Like she's the kind of person who loves intimate experiences between the King and the Queen of Wands, the partnership, but she likes to feel like the world around her is kind of wrapping up around her in a good way. Like the walls look good, the decorations look good, the money looks good. It's one thing to feel safe in the arms of another person if you guys are sitting in a good satin bed. It's another thing to be in the arms of another person when the world around you looks like it's chaos and it's kind of crumbling. Two different versions of intimacy, right? So the Queen of Wands embodies the fact that they feel safest and they feel like they can open up when there's not just openness happening in a relationship, but the rest of their world is also settling at the same time. So this could be a dynamic that is allowing you or your person to open up a little bit. They might have some kind of a like lightening up going on in their personal life that's allowing for them to see things more clearly. It's a really nice dynamic. So given that these are cards about this path opening up, I'm going to kind of shuffle again and I'm going to ask a little bit of a different question here because I'm curious. I'm curious about the path. I want to know what that looks like. Does it lead to communication by Valentine's Day? Is that what's up? You know, is this going to take a while? What's this path like? Let's just see what the cards kind of say about that. Oh, wow. The World card in the reversal. Going through and finishing old business. Redoing a cycle that you had once dealt with. I'm going to check out what that Death card's about. Death card, that could be, the World card is about things that were supposed to end. The Death card is about things that do end. But when the World is in the reversal, it's talking about things that were supposed to end that didn't. The Strength card in the reversal, that's about having to monitor whether or not what's going inside of you, what's going on inside of you or your person, needs to be adjusted. The Strength card has to do with, how would I say this? If you understand the ideas of what goes on with the carnal body. Carnal, meaning the fleshly body. Our flesh bodies, they've got certain ways about them that can be a little addicting. The Strength card happens to be attached to things like addictions. like sexual addictions, eating addictions, substance addictions, when it's in the reversal position, which you did get it in, it could be not just, it doesn't have to just be addictions that are like consuming something, because sometimes our flesh bodies will make us have an addiction like overthinking, like the fear energy that showed up in the Emperor card, right? But because it's in the reversal, it does insinuate that somebody is continuing to go forward with that in mind. They have to monitor that. I want this card to be in the upright position because that insinuates that they are actively doing all that they need to in a breezy way of subduing these kind of difficulties, whether they're subduing old habits of, whatever addiction. But in the reversal, it's a little shaky. It does look like there could be a dynamic of a path going forward that involves that. So they're not just negotiating life in terms of romance and love. They're also kind of swaying in life to make sure that there's emotional regulation happening within them that could get lit up if they are not careful, Think things of the body, even like being angry. Those are things that well up or swell up, you could say, in the body, like ocean tides that consume somebody all of a sudden, right? And sometimes, like the ocean tides, you have to respect the ocean. It takes a lot of strength to deal with what overcomes a person. Another sentiment that I think is that those previous situations could have been the reason why the World card is here and a redo needs to be done. There could have been a dynamic between you and your person, whether that's a friend zone situation, whether that's in a relationship and you've seen some of their weaknesses already. Those weaknesses could have had a play in the past or a part of in the past as to why you guys have to redo this now. Why this person is navigating these dynamics of themselves now. But in terms of the path, I still want to know what the path is. I guess from this perspective, the path is about regulation. It's like self-regulation. Through the nature of learning how to self-regulate, this person opens up. Or both of you. I think my son just called me. Let's pull 2 more cards here. The 9 of Cups in the reversal. And the Knight of Pentacles. Okay. I see. It's a conversation that's going to happen between you and your person about how not to be. How it is that you guys can almost like choose not to be unrealistic and like really grounded in your way forward with each other. Knight of Pentacles is the card of the hard worker, but the card of long-term stability. Like, that's a bonus winning energy, by the way. That does mean that you get security and stability as an outcome from this person. It's the final card, the outcome card that I just pulled is long-term stability with this person. But in order to do it, you have to cross through the 9 of Cups energy in the reversal, which is when somebody is too wishful thinking or unrealistic. So it looks like you might have conversations that kind of show up like, not ground rules, but almost like laying all the cards on the table where you say, or they say, like, this is where I'm at, X, Y, and Z. If we're going to do this, or if this is going to be how we go forward, I need you to know that I'm doing this here, I'm doing that there, because that's what the Knight of Pentacles does. Like the beehive. That's why he has the hive imagery of the bee on it. It requires cooperation to be had at a very specific level where people are doing things in a realistic, real grounded, building shit up, building the foundation up properly kind of way, which honestly is the responsible way to go. I think that's a beautiful approach. Letting everybody know where their cards are so that nobody gets too unrealistic. That could be talking about things like with the Knight of Pentacles, how slow it's going to take. This is all dynamics that look like it's going to be like a long and gradual journey with this particular person. It's not going to be like fireworks going off immediately by Valentine's Day, but think like being in, how I wanted to say, not a lazy river, but on a river that sometimes can be lengthy and enjoyable as you kind of float down the river of life. And then there are some times where the water gets a little bit white watery in life. I'm using this as a symbolic metaphor, obviously. Right? But that's the thing about rivers. It, like a beehive, the beehive symbolically functions the same over and over and over, but a river, it's going to take you through long-term curves of life. So again, it's like laying down the rules so that this person knows that this could take a length of time. Because originally on this deck, Knight of Pentacles is a beehive. On the traditional tarot deck, on Rider-Waite-Smith concepts of tarot over 100 years ago, it's a horse that's plowing a field. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of storms passing over a field, a lot of sun shining on a field in order for the field to reach supreme abundance down the road. This also insinuates good money, by the way. I know we're not doing a money reading here, but Knight of Pentacles is the promise of security in a financial way as well as stability in a relationship. So I'm going to leave you guys off with that. Many blessings to you. If you're interested in a private reading, you can always get a hold of me. We can do monthly readings, or I do have a Valentine's Day sale right now. Any 3 questions for $20. Or if you're interested, over on TikTok, I am going to be putting up the next part of the Gemini reading. I'm going to do a double down love reading, a free reading, completely free, just like this one, long format Gemini reading to see where you guys are at in the realms of love. I just wanted to put one up here on YouTube and put one up on TikTok. That's always how I do it, right? So I will see you there, or I'll see you in the next video here on YouTube. I will talk to you later, and ciao for now.